This is Punch editorial, 1st of October, to mark our 64th independence. I simply replaced the opening paragraph editorial as though I was writing an editorial about the anniversary of the discovery of oil in Olodumare in 1956, which will make it 68 years today since that discovery. So, my opening paragraph, without quoting verbatim what Punch wrote, the Niger Delta is a total mess. It is a deformed adult child at 68. It cannot protect itself and depend on others for basic sustenance. Even from resources it has in abundance and for which by right it should have direct control over. What it cannot for reasons best known to all of us. I dare say that there's a difference between possession and ownership. We possess the oil in the Niger Delta, but we don't own it. So if Nigeria at 64 is a total mess, as the Punch wants us to believe, then what will it say about the Niger Delta at 68, since the discovery of oil in Olodumare? For those of you who may not know where Olodumare is, it's at my backyard. I am from Olodumare. It's just like a 2-3 minutes walk. And it will shock you to know that I didn't benefit from Shell scholarship. My father did everything he could to talk to everybody. Oh, I have a brilliant son. Anyway, my father. Oh, a brilliant son. Please give my son scholarship. But Shell didn't think enough. But the oil is being produced from my backyard. And guess what? When I see the newspaper publication of beneficiaries of Shell scholarship, they are all people from the West and the North. And that is the reality we're dealing with today. I do not wish to take a place of the keynote speaker, but let me end by saying that there can be no better time for us to rethink the future of the region. We must tell ourselves the truth, as Niger Deltans, that unless we push for true federalism and insist on the devolution of power to the constituent units, as it was in the First Republic, where the federating units were co-equal to the center, not subservient as it is currently is, in which every month we go to Abuja with begging bowls, we will never be able to build the Niger Delta of our dream. If you ask me, ladies and gentlemen, we were better off as when we had the regional government. We were better off. We were just talking about it this morning. This hotel was built by Dr. Michael. And look at that architecture. I was telling my friend, I said, they built this as far back as way back in the 60s. And today it's still standing. And Professor Patutomi reminded me that Dr. Michael, with Awolowo, who was building the Cocoa House in Ibadan. Between then and now, how come we missed it? And we have missed it so badly. And that's why we're gathered here, to find a way out. Unfortunately, this room is full of intelligentsia, full of people in academics and journalists. I wish the politicians are here and those who are in leadership. So I want to thank you all for your time. Once again, you're welcome. And please be sure to participate. Let it be on record today that you were part of the meeting where the revolution started. As we and thank you once again. Welcome.
I think we can do much better than that. Speaking about healthy competition, referring to the leaders of old. Well, these days, the competition snake and monkey will be big and long enough to hijack the most amount of money. our technical crew. They're ready with the... Are we good to go? Or should we move on? All right, I would suggest that we down and do something else. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please join me in welcoming for the chairman's remark. The chairman, Excellency Senator Henry Seriake Dixon, former governor of Bayelsa State and senator representing Bayelsa West Senatorial District, who is here represented by Chief Osusugo O.N., pioneer member of the Bayelsa State House of Assembly and former commissioner for Education, Bayelsa State. Please let's put our hands together with him as he comes forward to deliver the chairman's remark.
I want to stand also on the existing protocol. But let me make a correction. I am not a chief and do not intend to be one this morning. I am just OO. Let me resume the discussion by thanking Wershu for the effort to bring all of us together. Building Senator Dixon was supposed to be here, but unavoidably he couldn't make it, and he expressed his regret and apology to the organizers. And he asked me to thank you to keep the effort. You started very well, and the quality of debate in your profession. He has asked me to also express the fact that to build another letter of our dream, we need unity of purpose by the people. Without that, to fail like you have expressed, you own the way, but you don't possess it. Are you sure you possess it? If you possess it, you should be in control. You don't possess it, do you own it? They tell you your head is in your backyard, but they themselves possess it, they use it on your behalf, and they are very happy about it. So we must come back to look inwards so that we can actually aside. Unfortunately, the documentary, but the little that we saw was a soil pollution here, but they enjoy the wells. So we must come together to save the society. We are in drought with everything, but basically we are poor in the needs of plenty. So the discussion, the time is now. We must stand to the occasion. I want to thank all of you for coming. I believe we will benefit from every bit of the discussion as we remain in this hall. Thank you for coming. The session is hereby declared open. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please let's put our hands together. O.O. Osusu, the one who is not a chief. Thank you very much for delivering. Ladies and gentlemen, very quickly, I'd like to recognize Honorable Engineer Rodney Ambaiwe, Southern Ijaw Federal Constituency. Also, Dr. Isaiah O. Stefan, thank you very much for being here. He's represented by Honorable Engineer Rodney and Bayowe. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, also, I'd like to especially recognize one of Nollywood's big wigs. Some people do not know by his name, but if you think of Isakaba, it'll probably ring. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sam Pede is here with us. Please let's give him a round of applause. So I've been told that the media will let me know, will let me know when they're ready with the document or Krika extraction. She is brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for a spoken word performance, none other than Ibitane Salema. Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and thank you to all the organizers for inviting me here. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a spoken word. Oh, Niger Delta, our land, richly blessed, but poorly managed. Yet to hear the cry of poverty in the midst of plenty. We lament the deplorable condition of our environment, yet we are helpless. We behold our sorry state, yet we cast our leaders behind them for putting us in penury. Yet we smile, laugh, and hail them when they show up with a few bags of rocks. How long are we to continue to feel comfortable whereas we are suffering? How long are we to endure the pain of deprivation, lack, and want? How long? I'm asking, how long? How long? Our villages, our communities, are examples of rustic and click screening under development. We still pool in the same river we fish. Disgusting, isn't it? Gross. Electricity is still a luxury. And this is not the reflection. This is not the reflection at all. Of the fight back every month. We rejoiced when the Lord was blessed, but now it has become our albatross. Ladies and gentlemen, we need a rebirth. We need to save our land from the snail speed of development. To buy what happened to us. To buy what happened to Niger Delta. Are you pondering of when the time is? Niger Delta, congratulations, the time is now! Thank you. Niger Delta, the time is now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once again for Ibitane Salema. While we still wait to get notified if the documentary is good to go, we will proceed with the program that we have at hand. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Are we good? Are we good to go? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on right now. We're still struggling to get that sorted. If you have the program with you, you would see that we have come to a very important part of today's event. I would have said it's my village people who have come all out, but alas. Okay, can I proceed, please? If that is some, effect to herald the next speaker, then it's very welcome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome for the keynote address one of Nigeria's renowned economists. He's also an entrepreneur and public intellectual, widely regarded as one of Nigeria's voices in, economic matters and discourse, and has made significant contributions to the development of Nigeria's economy. He has held academic positions at various universities, including the University of Lagos and Harvard University. He has conducted extensive research on economic development, entrepreneurship, and public policy. He's also a successful entrepreneur and has founded several businesses across various sectors. He has served in various government positions, including as a special advisor to the president on economic affairs. He's also a strong advocate for economic reform, for good governance, and social justice. He has been involved in numerous civil society organizations and has used his platform to raise awareness about important social and economic issues. Ladies and gentlemen, his expertise and insights have made him a very respected figure in Nigerian society, and his contributions to the country's development continue to be significant. Together and possibly even rise to our feet as we welcome the keynote speaker, Professor Pat Utomi, to deliver the keynote on today's occasion.
Thank you. Please let me seated, please. Thank you so very much. Very kind of you on a day. In Nigeria, we always stand on existing protocol. Or not on it, but it's stand on it. But I want to say that the most important protocol is to acknowledge you, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I feel very pleased, very honored to return to Port Harcourt, and in fact, this hall that I've spoken in, and these guys have spoken from so many times. So my journey to Port Harcourt predates my birth. And my grandfather built a house on Bailey Street in 1929. That shows how far me and Port Harcourt go. Most of the time, Tinia Library's main business was to drive me around Port Harcourt at 2 a.m. He will tell you how dangerous company I've kept in the past. But even more seriously, 20 years ago, after it was believed that people of Niger Delta could never get their act together, the governors of the South met here in Port Harcourt and decided that each of them should bring, I think, 3 or 4 leading private sector people from their state back to Port Harcourt for a meeting. So, when Government House Port Harcourt, the governor of Delta State at the time, Manuel Duan, attacked me and 2 or 3 others from Delta State with him. In the chair of the meeting, the governor of Cross River, Lieli Moke, then announced their intention to develop a summit, an economic summit for the South-South, driven significantly by private sector people, and then they had then agreed amongst themselves to ask that each of them bring 4 leading private sector people from their state and 1 or 2 public sector economy people. And so we are sitting there in the hall in the governor's lodge, and the governor at the time, Chibika Mechi, being very generous with his welcome and all of that. And Senator Lieli Moke came to me and said, please do chair this for us. And I said, why not? That's how what was the South-South Economic Summit was created. And we thought that we would institutionalize that process by suggesting to the governors to create what came to be known as the BRACE Commission. Bayelsa, Rivers, Wycombe, Cross River, Edo, Delta. We thought that we were creating a European Commission type base for economic development that would be unrivaled anywhere in Nigeria. Our heart was in it, our passion. When we had this summit in Tinapa, in Tara, we raised from amongst ourselves, the private sector, nearly ₦500 million without asking government. If we had finished everything with government, people nevertheless remembered we were supposed to make some contribution. I did not believe with what we did that today we'll be gathering and talking about this. It's a tragedy. When that summit took place, Yaradua was president. The South-South person was his vice president. And President, as he would become, Jonathan was asked to represent at the flagging of the South-South Economic Summit in Tinapa in Calabar. And as we were sitting on the dais, he said to me, I can't believe it. He said that when he was governor, the governors of the South-South did everything to make this kind of thing happen, and they couldn't succeed. So one obvious difference, our successors were reasonable enough to turn to the private sector to do it. That's why we're making this. You know, if you sat there at that point in Tinapa, you knew that the South-South owned back in Nigeria. Jimobia, Oceanic Banks, this is Hebrew, I mean, all of them, the major banks, were all city, each of them. So give us 100 million for that summit. But the refusal to lead. And that is really our challenge, the refusal to lead. When I was making a presentation that day, because storytelling is our way, I decided to make my presentation a very basic, simple story. And I said, imagine 25 years from now, a young girl who was having this appearance or thought this is going to be for children in need from Cross River And it's in this fast train traveling at 380 kilometers an hour, going past this Greek city, through this, I was saying the area was just a pretty crummy, oil-infested area the day I was born. But I was told that on that day I was born, leaders of the region that I did that. And because of what they said and did that day, I'm witnessing this thing. I mean, it could have literally, the vision was just literally melted. Now what has happened? And to push us into a place of pain so we can reflect. Because I have been here before. Why? I ask, why? I know the major reason why we didn't make progress, but that 2 or 3 of the governors began to quarrel with one another. No, it doesn't make any sense. And we invented progress. It was all laid out, a plan where we could go with our endowments and all of those. We feed farmers from the US who came back in their own private jets to show to people that from agriculture you could be rich enough to put your own private jet. At the point already in Tinagua, I started looking for the governors. I couldn't find them. I'm looking for them. I said, "What's happened to all these governors? It's listening to this." Somebody touched me. Go to the back there. There's one coach, this bus that is luxury bus that the musicians talk in America. There's one book. I went there. We are all thoroughly drunk on champagne. So I said, what are you guys doing here? I said, oh, sir, my friend. You have to laugh to cry. Sometimes. And I can be humorous and say to them, I know, might not be good, but there's some things that we should take a little more seriously. Leadership is a problem that we need to deal with. It is not a game. It's about lives. We can stand up here like MC and say, Dubai. Dubai is one man's vision. Their national day, I believe, is December 2 or 6. I remember because one day I flew from London into Dubai, going to a meeting. And landed a plane because it was very cold in London. A plane had to be defrosted. This flight was late. When we landed Dubai, it was like 3 a.m. And I was going to my hotel in the Hilton in Jumeirah or whatever. Traffic, everything was not for National Day. They were celebrating flags at 2 a.m. with their fancy cars, the banner of their leader. It will make a difference in people's life that why would they do that? In 1965, a small patch of land with no resources was ejected from the Niger Federation. And their leader broke down and began to weep because there seemed to be no chance in hell for them. But he cried, rolled up his sleeves. One generation later, just 30 years later, he would write a book titled From Third World to the First, Singapore Story. For many, many years, I went to that country several times a year. Part of my academic research was Southeast Asia. The impact of that one man's vision to lead the others along, including those that rejected him in 65. fed a whole region. When you were applying these phenomena, they all fall together to prosperity. My vision was that this house will flock together to prosperity. Just a little vision, nothing remarkable, nothing extraordinary. Just with one or two unserious people in leadership who got everybody else with God. And saying, can we say never again? Can we say let us begin anew? Because it is possible to begin anew. The question was asked, how did we get here? How did we get here? I tell you how we got here. Very clear. I've spent years writing, teaching about these matters, researching it, talking to those involved. I can tell you how we got here. We used to be more serious people. When the story of Presidential Hotel, it was built by Barra. It was actually we said we learned yesterday how this hotel was built by Barra. And I said, I can tell you, I can give you greater details. You know, 1 year to go back to our law, imagine the region decided on a number of priorities, conversation, and in my presentation here, you can't go there unless you deal with education. That's one progress, small progress. Education, healthcare, you can't go anywhere without it. Another priority, industrialization. What did we do with industrialization? Took an area near Lagos in Western Nigeria. We marketed it into an industrial area and went out trying to invite investors into the area. Once we started that, the Premier of Eastern Region responded, this man cannot do me. The starting one, I will start two. So, Transamadi, Port Harcourt, Canada, boom! Sana responded with Kakuri. Kakuri became a hub of Nigeria's textile industry because the whole strategy was to engage in Chinese to build a factory. One of the factories built, the whole business in 1960 in Kakuri, in Kaduna, sold its first 6 months production in England, Manchester merchants ahead. That company broke even after 1 month in 1960. Export-led industrialization. In 1956, before some government, industrialization was next to zero in Nigeria. There were literally only 2 factories in the country: Nigerian breweries and the related motor industries. Between 1957 and 1960, industry to GDP 3%. How does something happen that dramatically? Because there were serious needs. If you read parts of people and of public development, 3 or 4 volumes of it, okay, people will tell you that the marketing boards are related in England. Significant 90 million pounds. What that was in those days? Between 1957 and 1960 and independence, the reserves were empty. But years later, what do you think happened? They chopped the money. They chopped the money. They used it to go after the fastest way to bring a population of manufacturing. And so you had this industrial estate spring up in the back door. Everyone was making fantabulous progress. This competition was called by, I'm currently spending time living abroad to Brooklyn. But more seriously, I'm a fellow at the Woodrow Wilson Center in Washington at this time. And I mention this because a gentleman who was very instrumental in the program at the Woodrow Wilson Center passed away. It's called Hawaii. Some of you will know Hawaii, the culture of State of Africa on that. But in somewhere in the 1970s, Hawaii, one of his colleagues, Ron Nelson, wrote a book on monetization in Nigeria. And the core phenomenon that I just described now, of competition, you have a reaction in books, a reaction to, if you will, when this book was started, some people were saying that this primitive African at war and all of that. And their reaction was, no, it's not about primitive Africans. It's just that complementary. And then what happened in Nigeria, but in various regions where the that phenomenon, competitive communalism. It is the excesses of competitive communalism that got us somewhere. But all that was the philosophy. I don't know if you read this morning. I don't know if you commercial quantities were found in 56, 57, and export being. Shell did not deal with the federal government of Nigeria. Shell dealt with the government of Eastern region. Government of Eastern region collected revenues and they sent 50% to Lagos. It was the center. Okay? But, unfortunately for all of us, we converted to what I call dangerous alchemy of soldiers and oil.